First, Hawkins is at 1, which is not very much, by the way. Schlepphorst is at 19, but I've seen that look on Hawkins' face before. He's doing some math right now, I believe. And, well, he better be, because he'll die if he doesn't. There's a Dryad Arbor out there on the other side there from Schlepphorst.
Lethal.
Don't say that one very much about the old Dryad Arbor. Hawkins currently up a game in this matchup, Storm versus Reliquary Retreat. Again, if you haven't seen the deck tech with Chief and Schlepphorst, as he was in the sideboard with Ken Crocker, we do recommend that you do after the match, not now. Eric is trying to figure out the best way to go about doing this. The one thing we don't know is what's in Schlepphorst's hand. You see those two cards, they're face down. He's hiding that from everybody.
Yeah, now, Hawkins, most likely, what's happening here is the check on, do I have a mana to spare? Can I afford to cast Cabal Therapy and have enough mana left over to do everything that I need to do? Given that he's on 1 life, he has to win via Past in Flames, or does he just have to let it rip? Does every mana just matter too much?
Now, to note, you see Eric's graveyard, a couple Dark Rituals down there, at least 1 Cabal Therapy, a Disfigure. Also, the Ad Nauseam has been cast already this game.
Okay.
So we may have jumped in after Ad Nauseam resolved, and Eric decided he had to stop. Unclear at this point as we're jumping in mid-game. He does also have a copy of Tendrils of Agony in hand. What we do know is that he's facing lethal next turn from that Dryad Arbor. And he's got to figure out with the contents of his hand of what exactly he can do here. It looks like he's going to start with Dark Ritual. So that's spell 1, 3 black mana. So there's your Storm count. We'll get the mana out here for Eric, too. We've seen him do this so many times here this weekend. Now here is Dark Petition Spellmaster. Has certainly been achieved. We got no mana floating here. Now, if this does resolve, he'll get to Demonic Tutor and add 3 black mana to the mana pool. You do wonder, where's he going after this? Uh-oh, he's reaching. Daze. Looks like Hawkins will pay. Daze is spell 3.
And I guess the hope here from Schlepphorst's side is that he has to use the Volcanic Island and can't really get anything going without that red mana.
Hawkins looks like he's considering Lotus Petal, and now he's just considering putting his deck away. No comeback to be had here, so looks like that Daze was timely.
Yes, I don't think that Hawkins could get anything going with Ad Nauseam already cast and with him at 1 life. And no ability to get anything going once he didn't have red mana. That Dryad Arbor is going to finish the game off.
Well, we're going to the sideboards here. We're going to start with Hawkins since he'll be on the play here for game number 3. So you got 3 Abrupt Decays, 2 Disfigures, 2 Empty the Warrens, 2 Xantid Swarms, a Tropical Island to help cast those green cards, along with 2 Dreaded Knights, a Chain of Vapor, a Rebuild, and a Flusterstorm.
I am really get down with the copies of Xantid Swarm in this matchup. Not a whole lot of counter spells in Schlepphorst's deck, but that's really his only way of interacting. And he doesn't remove creatures that reliably unless he's willing to leave in Swords to Plowshares, which seems like too big of a cost to pay.
Other side of things here for Schlepphorst, he's got an Engineer Explosives, a Pithing Needle, a Tormod Script and Static Caster, Kosali Pride Mage, Scavenging Ooze, Crop Rotation, Crozen Grip, Path Exile, Submerge, Gaddock-Teeg, nice one in this matchup, Council's Judgment, Pajuka Bog, and then 2 copies of Envelop.
A couple good options here. I do like having access to some anti-graveyard measures. Storm does rely on his graveyard quite a bit, so the Scavenging Ooze, the Pajuka Bog, they're low cost, and I like bringing them in. I think it's even fine to bring in the Crop Rotation to be able to enable the Pajuka Bog at instant speed, and then there's some anti-combo measures like Gaddock-Teeg, the 2 copies of Envelop, and those are just going to come in as well.
So you see the options there for both players here. Hawkins will be on the play here for game number 3. You mentioned not a ton of counter magic going on in the Reliquary Retreat deck here.
Well, 4 copies of Force of Will, 3 copies of Daze. nothing really going on the sideboard. There are the 2 copies of Envelop, though. Envelop's very good in this matchup. We see a lot of people lean on things like Spell Pierces and Dazes as a way to try to fight Storm. But as we've seen over the course of this weekend, Hawkins can get to a point where 2 mana is not a lot for him to pay. Daze and Spell Pierce fall off a cliff in terms of their utility once you get past a certain point. But Envelop is very solid at every stage of the game. You can answer a lot of the combo effects with it, and it's not something that Hawkins can just power through with enough ritual effects.
Well, those are the options for both players, and we're going to learn a little bit more about Eric Hawkins right now. You see, he's got 1 Open Series top 8. We'll have to change that graphic to 2. It seems like a long time coming, and maybe he was just waiting for a Legacy main event.
We're going to have to update Tom Ross's as well.
That's for
2
sure.
updates.
So Eric Hawkins, now 2 Open Series top 8, 31 years old, from St. Paul, Minnesota. A poker and Magic player. Told me he's going to get started in Hearthstone as well. Very popular card game. Sports fanatic as well. Big fan of his Minnesota sports team. So he's starting to drive around. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in Dallas, where we'll have our Modern Open next weekend over Halloween weekend. He made a deep run with Grixis Delver in Cincinnati a couple of months ago. Todd Anderson, of course, did win that event. Hawkins also playing for top 8 there. He's starting to really put his name into the ring here as a player that's going to head to the Players' Championship. He really needed this weekend.
And it's nice to kind of have a feather in the cap, too. I mean, it's nice to get to the Players' Championship, of course, but you would like to have a couple of the big Open Series and invitational finishes to point to solidify your resume. And Eric here making a deep run. Going to Game 3 here, potentially about to square off against Tom Ross in the finals. Should he get this next game?
And starting to become a lot more familiar face here in the Open Series, too. You know, he conceded to Tom Ross, and Tom Ross said, you know, I've been hanging out with him more over the course of these past couple of weekends. Pretty good guy. Nice guy that kind of hangs around in the booth and stuff like that. And you can tell from the conversations we've had with him this weekend, Storm is something this guy's not new to at all.
No, this is not his first time around the block, and he has handled himself very well on camera with this deck. Has gotten out of some tight spots, some very challenging games to win, some mulligans at bad times. We haven't seen him have any of the easy matchups. I mean, he did play against Charlotte Sultai, which is a good one, but the decks with no counter spells and no clock that Storm preys upon, we haven't seen him get any of those freebies on camera. They've all been at least moderately challenging matchups, and Hawkins has done very well for himself getting this far.
Well, whoever does win this match, be it Eric Hawkins playing Storm or Steven Schlepphorst playing Reliquary Retreat, you're going up against Tom Ross in the finals. And it's been a heck of a run here for the boss this weekend as well. He's been near the top of the standings all weekend long with Infect, ended day number 1 at 8-1. No surprise to see Tom have success with that deck. Resume really speaks for itself here with Infect. He's looking to get another Open Series title added to his resume, and more importantly, maybe those 25 Open Series points.
Yeah, huge deal here for Eric and for Tom.
Both players take a look at the opener, and Hawkins will be on the play. We have seen some turn 1 kills from Eric this weekend.
We got one.
Yeah.
There was no Force of Will in the opposing hand, but Force of Will wouldn't have mattered. Had it covered.
Before you begin, after you finish your match, if you think you are going
Hawkins
to
taking a
make
long
top
look.
32,
Schlepphorst, that look like a hand that he wants to keep.
These decks like Storm, they put so much pressure on your mulligans.
Yeah.
You don't know if you have to go get Force of Will. You usually don't absolutely have to. It's not quite like playing against Charbelcher, where if they keep 7 on the play, you just got a mulligan. But people do mulligan a lot against this deck, searching for ideal sets of hands, when the Storm hand might just be fine. It might be something that kills on turn 3 or turn 4. It's something that doesn't require extreme mulligans. But when your opponent keeps 7 on the play, you have to respect the possibility that you could die on the first or second turn, and that forces people to mulligan hands that are otherwise fine.
And what's so interesting about this too, you mentioned how when you play against Belcher, you're trying to mulligan for that kind of card like a Force of Will, and it's correct to do so because Belcher really can't beat Force of Will.
It's tough, at least.
Yeah, it's pretty gosh darn difficult to do. But in this matchup, okay, if you mulligan for Force of Will, all right, duress you.
Yeah.
You know, so even if you're trying to mulligan for maybe some permission, they have so much discard and pinpoint discard with Cabal Therapy, it may not even work.
Yeah, I played a game, I think it was against, it might have been against Brian Cook at one of the invitationals, where I mulliganed, I was playing Burn, I had Mindbreak Tracks on my sideboard, mulliganed an okay 7-card hand after he kept 7, got a 6-card hand that was acceptable with Mindbreak Trap, felt pretty good, and then he won very easily through the Mindbreak Trap.
Yeah.
It's not like these sideboard cards necessarily work.
But for all of the, I guess, durability and resiliency that Storm does have, it's a very difficult deck to play.
Yeah. And you do have to develop these risk assessment skills. Sometimes the way that your discard spells line up. You had to give your opponent one or two unknown draws. Sometimes you had to figure out, can I afford to wait or should I just go for it here? And those are skills that you just sort of had to develop over time, and there aren't a whole lot of decks in Magic that test that set of skills. So you have to be playing Legacy Storm specifically to get a good handle for it.
You certainly won't find decks like that in Standard.
No.
That's for sure.
The Fog deck or whatever. It's not quite the same thing.
Looks like Schlepphorst is going to keep his 6. He'll scry. We'll see if this card goes to the top or the bottom. To the bottom it goes, and game number 3 of our semifinals will be underway here in just a moment. Eric Hawkins will sacrifice a Polluted Delta. He's down at 19. We'll see what land he wants to search for.
Players in the standard top 8, please make your way to table 1.
Just a basic island. He is playing against a deck that does have Wasteland.
Although only 2, surprising for a Night of the Reliquary deck. You'd expect more than that. Could be an issue with colored mana. There is Tundra and Taiga in the deck after all, so.
You also, Ari Lash wrote an article about this sort of strategy in Modern. You have to have a pretty high density of lands that Knight can search for so you can combo kill them.
Right, and with Sujiri Step and Keswick Wolf Run and the Caracas,
yeah,
there's already some concessions being made to other corner case scenarios, and I guess Wasteland just has to be the card shaved out as a consequence of that.
Brainstorm cast right away. And that's always a little bit scary because when they're brainstorming on turn 1, there might be a combination of cards they can find to kill you.
That comes up. The other issue here is that Hawkins may not want this to get dazed and may be able to play around dazed for the rest of the game. So you just cast this on your own main phase, maybe give up a little bit of sneakiness and value, but that's fine if you can turn dazed into a dead card.
Hawkins just pass the turn back, Schlepphorst will draw. He's got a Misty. And now he's got a Noble Hierarch. So 19 all. Schlepphorst can aggressively search out non-basics here, so he'll get himself a Tropical Island, and we're going to head back Eric Hawkins' way. Brainstorm the draw. A Swamp. A Cabal Therapy.
Take a deep breath.
Now, you sound scared over there.
Pretty unlikely to be able to win the game off of an island as the leftovers.
He's going to name Force Will to hit. Retreat to Coral Helm, 2 of those. Looks like a Sylvan Library potentially, and then a Brainstorm, the cards left over.
I mean, this is a hand with some redraws because of the Brainstorm, but pretty light on defense for a kill next turn,
to say the least. Maybe, uh-oh. You said he slid those lands apart there?
Yeah. When I said unlikely to be able to kill off of,
oh boy.
I think he's got 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds and an Infernal Tutor, which allows him to Demonic Tutor with 6 mana floating.
Eric has asked Steven to back up his cards a little bit now.
You're going to want to move them off the table or maybe just pick up all your cards and leave. Well, I mean, you know.
2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, a Lotus Petal, that spells 2, 3, and 4. Hawkins does have a Brainstorm in hand. He's also got an Infernal Tutor. It could be go time here. He's going to use that Lotus Petal. He'll play an Infernal Tutor. He'll hold priority, break these 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds, discard that Brainstorm. He's got 6 mana floating. We'll see what colors they are. I imagine he's going to leave 1 black floating probably.
Well, he is a little bit light on ritual effects. He can't go via Passing Flames right now. I think he just has to ad nauseum for a bunch, which is not a bad spot to be in, but he's already played a Lotus Petal and 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds and has played a land.
Yeah, depending on how he sideboarded too, a unique option that would have been available to him here. I guess no, because he wouldn't have red mana flame. I was thinking maybe he could work Dark Petition into this.
Yeah, Dark Petition and Infernal Tutor are effectively the same card. You know.
He's got 6 black mana here.
Yeah, this just feels like ad nauseum with a black up. He's in a very favorable position, and he's not facing any pressure. So in the event that he does not kill this turn, he can build up a hand that can go for it the following turn.
Yeah, just don't go to 1.
But this is not a lock. Yeah, it's not a lock. Don't go to 1. Maybe avoid going to 2 for an exalted creature off the top.
Very true.
He's got a good shot of winning the game this turn, and if he fails, he can probably set up a hand that can win the game the next turn.
Cards he's looking for here, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal. He's already played a land for the turn. Lion's Eye Diamond will be okay, but he's already used 2 of those.
Yep.
Might not be necessary.
So yeah, Dark Ritual and Lotus Petal and potentially Cabal Ritual. Those are the prizes here. Lion's Eye Diamond in concert with Infernal Tutor is also great.
Ponder, Disfigure, hey, Dark Ritual, and a Lotus Petal, and a Dark Ritual. Magic is so easy.
And the Lotus and the Disfigure is so great here because if he fails to go off this turn, he can go, okay, well, Disfigure your Noble Hierarch with my mana that's left over. It's your turn.
Here's a Pass in Flames now as well. I think Eric might be stopping.
This looks like a kill to me.
Yeah.
I'm becoming better and better. I'm not perfect yet at identifying, but I've seen enough of the patterns now when I know a collection of cards that looks lethal.
So you're not ready to start playing Storm.
No, I'm ready to comment on it.
Dark Ritual going to bring him down to 8. He's still got some free shots here. I don't want to get too greedy, but yeah, I think he's going to stop now. He can cast a couple Dark Rituals. He can make red mana for Passing Flames off a Lotus Petal. We'll see him go through it here in just a moment.
Yeah, he can even float mana off of Lion's Eye Diamond, discard the Passing Flames, flash it back. A lot of routes here.
See, you got this
They
easy.
all land in the same place. I'm starting to pick it up. It was a hole in my commentary game for a little while. I feel like I'm starting to get the rhythm of this a little bit.
Now all you do is you go in Magic Online, you buy a Storm deck. Now you just start working out the kinks.
That seems like a lot of cost for not a lot of value for me.
There'll be a couple of misclicks along the way, but that's all right. Got to learn somehow. Here's a Pass in Flames, going to cast that. Probably blow LED in response so that he can flash back Infernal Tutor. Spell count is plenty high. He's got lots of mana. Now it's time to cast Infernal Tutor, I believe. And go get a Tendrils of Agony. And once he does reveal the Storm spell, Eric Hawkins is going to win this match here over Steven Schlepphorst. 2-1. Storm is going to take care of Reliquary Retreat. And we are going to have one heck of a finals in front of us here. Number 10 and number 12 on our Season 4 leaderboard with a lot on the line.
And don't go that far.
No.
Because this could be over extremely quickly. And congratulations to Steven Schlepphorst.
Absolutely.
This is the deck of the tournament. I
Yeah.
know we're going to have Infect and Storm in the finals and 2 of our highest profile players squaring off in the finals, but I know this captured the imagination of a lot of people. Very excited to see a card from Battle of Zendikar, a set that I think a lot of people said there's not really a lot of eternal content here.